All right, so you want to know the full story on Kiss, huh?
You bet.
The makeup, the fire,
Oh, yeah.
the spectacle?
Uh-huh.
Well, we're diving deep into their Wikipedia page to uncover the truth behind the legends.
That's what we're here for, right?
Buckle up, because this is Kiss, baby.
You know what's wild is that before the platform boots and the pyrotechnics,
Okay.
they were just a couple of guys in a band called Wicked Lester.
Wicked Lester.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a name I haven't heard before.
Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley.
The dynamic duo themselves.
Started there.
Wow.
They even recorded a whole album that never saw the light of day.
Really?
Shelved by Epic Records.
Whoa. A lost Kiss origin story.
Uh-huh.
Makes you wonder what kind of music they were making back then, right?
It does.
I mean, Kiss is hard rock over the top, but this Wicked Lester thing,
Right.
who knows?
Total musical mystery.
Yeah.
Did they always have the theatrical vision, or did that come later?
Maybe it was brewing under the surface.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the right moment to explode.
Mm.
And speaking of explosions,
All right.
let's talk about how the band actually came together.
Okay.
Peter Criss, the drummer,
Yeah.
answered a wanted ad in Rolling Stone magazine.
Wow.
Could you imagine flipping through the pages?
Yeah.
And bam, you end up in one of the biggest rock bands of all time?
Talk about fate, right?
Absolutely.
And then Ace Frehley joins the party, and suddenly the Kiss lineup, as we know it, is complete.
There it is.
January 1973,
Okay.
the Popcorn Club in Queens.
All right.
That's where it all began.
A tiny club. Less than 10 people in the audience.
Wow.
And they got paid a whopping $50 for the night.
You're kidding me.
Talk about humble beginnings.
It's like finding that first pressing of a rare record.
Right.
You know it's going to be worth a fortune someday. But at the time, it's just a bunch of guys playing their hearts out, hoping someone will listen.
And someone did listen.
They did.
But it wasn't just the music, was it? It was the whole package.
Oh, yeah.
The look, the image, the spectacle.
That's right.
March of '73. The Daisy in Amityville.
Good.
That's where the makeup made its debut.
Right.
The Star Child, the Demon, the Spaceman, the Catman.
Wow.
These iconic personas were born.
It's fascinating how much those designs became intertwined with their music.
Yeah.
Even today, you can't think of Kiss without picturing those faces.
Right.
Good.
And let's not forget about the logo.
Of course.
The iconic Kiss symbol.
Oh, yeah.
Ace Frehley designed it.
Bro.
But those SS lightning bolts caused quite a stir.
They did?
They resembled the Nazi SS symbol,
Oh.
which, considering the band had Jewish members,
Yeah.
was a major issue.
Yeah, they had to modify it for Germany and some other countries.
Right.
It's a reminder that even the smallest details can become huge when you're operating on a global scale.
Absolutely. So they had the look, but what about the sound?
Yeah, for sure.
They cut a 5-song demo with Eddie Kramer,
Okay.
the legendary producer who worked with Jimi Hendrix,
Wow.
and Led Zeppelin.
Big names.
That got them their first TV appearance,
Yep.
performing Nothing to Lose,
Uh-huh.
Firehouse,
Okay.
and Black Diamond on ABC's in concert
Yeah.
in March of '74.
Oh.
That's got to be a huge deal for a band just starting out.
Absolutely. Talk about exposure. And
Right.
then came the Mike Douglas show
Okay.
in April of the same year.
Right.
Gene Simmons, in all his demon glory, declared himself evil incarnate
What?
on daytime television.
Whoa.
Can you imagine the reaction?
It was 1974.
Yeah.
People weren't ready for that kind of in-your-face rock and roll attitude.
Mm.
Kiss was pushing boundaries,
Uh-huh.
challenging norms,
Right.
and whether you loved them or hated them, you couldn't ignore them.
That boldness,
Yeah,
that willingness to be different,
Mm.
that's what helped set them apart.
totally.
But early success wasn't a given.
Right.
Their first two albums, Kiss and Hotter Than Hell, didn't exactly set the world on fire, commercially speaking.
In fact, their label Casablanca Records was nearly bankrupt.
Wow.
Imagine the pressure.
Yeah.
Your back's against the wall.
Uh-huh.
You're pouring your heart and soul into your music.
Right.
And the whole thing could come crashing down.
And that's where things get interesting.
Hey.
1975, they release a double live album,
Right.
live, and everything changes. It goes gold,
Wow.
launches Rock and Roll All Night into the top 40,
Nice.
and basically saves both the band and their record label.
It's amazing how a live album,
Is.
capturing the raw energy of their concerts,
Yeah,
became their breakthrough moment.
absolutely.
It wasn't just the music.
No.
It was the feeling, the experience. You could practically smell the pyrotechnics and feel the heat of the crowd just listening to that record.
They even admitted later to sweetening the recordings.
What do you mean?
Adding extra crowd noise, overdubs, and things like that. They wanted to capture the essence of a Kiss show.
Yeah.
Even if it meant bending the rules a bit.
Whatever it took, right.
Right.
They were fighting for their survival.
They were.
But that album also marked a turning point in their sound.
Interesting.
They brought in Bob Ezrin,
the
producer known for his work with Alice Cooper, to helm their next album, Destroyer.
That's where things got really interesting. Destroyer was a departure from their previous raw sound.
Interesting.
It was more polished, more ambitious, with orchestral elements.
Oh, wow.
A children's choir, a real sonic adventure.
And let's not forget that incredible cover art by Ken Kelly.
Oh, right.
The guy who illustrated Tarzan and Conan the Barbarian.
I love that guy.
You knew it was going to be epic just from looking at it.
It's fascinating how those visual elements contribute to a band's mystique.
Totally. And Destroyer also gave us Beth.
Oh, yeah.
Which was originally a B-side.
Really?
It went on to become their first top 10 hit, showing a softer side to this band, known for fire-breathing and blood-spitting.
And speaking of showcasing different sides, how about their appearance on the Paul Lynde Halloween special in 1976?
Okay.
It's so bizarre to think about them on a mainstream variety show, lip-syncing Detroit Rock City and Beth alongside Paul Lynde.
Peak 70s weirdness, right?
Totally.
But it worked.
It did.
It exposed them to a wider audience.
Yeah.
And their popularity just kept exploding.
They followed up with Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun, both platinum sellers, and then Alive the Second.
Alive the Second.
By this point, they were more than a band. They were a phenomenon.
A Gallup poll even named them the most popular band in America in 1977.
Wow.
And their success wasn't limited to the States.
No.
They broke the Beatles record for sold-out shows at the Budokan in Japan.
It's incredible to think about their global reach, especially considering how divisive they were.
They were pioneers in so many ways. The music, the image, the marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of marketing.
Yeah.
We can't talk about Kiss without mentioning their merchandising empire.
No way.
Comic books. Pinball machines.
Yeah.
Dolls. Makeup kits, you name it.
Right.
They slapped their logo on it.
It's genius, really.
Yeah.
They understood the power of branding and created a whole Kiss universe that fans could buy into.
They weren't just selling albums.
No.
They were selling a lifestyle.
That's right.
And it wasn't all smooth sailing behind the scenes.
Really?
In 1978, they released 4 solo albums.
Wow.
One from each member on the same day.
An unprecedented move.
Right.
Some saw it as creative freedom, others as a sign of ego clashes.
Yeah.
What do you think this move says about the band's dynamics at that time?
It's hard to say. On one hand, they were all strong personalities with their own visions. On the other hand, they were still a band.
Yeah.
Still working together to achieve something bigger than themselves.
And then there was Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
Oh, yeah.
Their foray into the world of film.
Okay.
It's become a cult classic.
Yeah.
But for all the wrong reasons.
The band themselves have talked about it with a mixture of humor and embarrassment.
Oh, really?
They felt it made them look like clowns rather than the rock and roll superheroes they envisioned.
And that whole experience created a rift between them and their manager, Bill Aucoin.
Oh, wow.
Who was a key figure in their early success.
So by the end of the 70s, Kiss was at a crossroads.
Yeah.
Massive success.
Right.
Internal tensions. A changing musical landscape.
And this is just the beginning of their story.
Oh,
Get ready for lineup changes, creative clashes, and even a period where they ditch the makeup entirely.
The Kiss saga is as wild and unpredictable as their onstage antics.
It is.
Stay tuned, because we're just getting started.
Can't wait.
All right, so we left off with Kiss at a crossroads.
Yeah.
Huge success, but some behind-the-scenes drama bringing.
Right.
Their next album, Dynasty, hit the shelves in 1979.
All right.
And it kept that platinum streak alive.
But you can hear a shift happening.
Oh, really?
Move towards a more pop sound, especially with that disco-infused hit.
Yeah.
That was made for loving you.
And it wasn't just the music that was changing.
Right.
The cracks were starting to show within the band itself.
Interesting.
Peter Criss's drumming was noticeably absent on much of the album.
Yeah.
Apparently he'd been in a car accident, and Anton Fig actually played on most of the tracks.
His drumming had been declining even before the accident.
Oh, really?
There were tensions, disagreements about the band's direction.
Yeah.
it all came to a head on The Tomorrow Show with Tom Snyder.
Oh, yeah?
Frehley shows up, shall we say, a little overserved.
Oh, no.
While Simmons and Stanley look like they want to crawl under the couch.
It's almost painful to watch.
No.
You can practically feel the tension radiating through the screen.
And despite being billed as the return of Kiss,
Right.
the Dynasty Tour actually saw a dip in attendance.
Interesting, right.
Yeah.
But here's something else to consider.
Okay.
A lot of the fans at those shows were much younger, kids in full Kiss makeup with their parents.
It's like Kiss was becoming more family-friendly.
Right.
Which is a far cry from their earlier, more rebellious image.
Maybe it was a natural evolution.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were consciously trying to broaden their appeal, whatever the reason.
Yeah.
By the end of that tour,
Okay.
Criss was out,
Yeah.
replaced by Eric Carr.
Oh, right.
The Fox,
The Fox.
a talented drummer and multi-instrumentalist.
Oh, yeah.
He brought a fresh energy to the band.
But the drama didn't end there.
Oh, no.
Their next album, Music from the Elder,
Okay.
was a concept album that, well, didn't exactly resonate with fans.
It was supposed to be the soundtrack to a movie that never got made.
Right.
And the storyline was, to put it mildly, a little convoluted.
Fans were confused, critics were harsh,
Yeah.
and even the band members have expressed mixed feelings about it over the years.
And then Frehley, who's already unhappy with the band's direction,
Yeah.
decided to call it quits in 1982.
Wow.
It was the end of an era.
They brought in Vinnie Vincent,
Okay.
a phenomenal guitarist who became the Wiz,
So weird.
or sometimes the Egyptian Warrior,
Right.
depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
But Vincent, despite his undeniable talent, was known for his strong personality.
Clashes with Simmons and Stanley were inevitable.
Oh.
And he was eventually fired.
Oh, wow.
Then brought back.
Really?
Then fired again.
That's crazy.
It was a tumultuous time for the band.
a real roller coaster ride.
Right.
And amidst all this,
Yeah.
they made a decision that shocked the world.
What's that?
They ditched the makeup.
No way.
1983 MTV. That's where they revealed their unmasked faces to the world.
It was a huge gamble.
Right.
Like shedding their skin and revealing a whole new identity.
Yeah.
But it paid off.
It did. Look it up. Their first album without the makeup went gold their first in 3 years.
It's a new era for Kiss,
Mm-hmm.
and it came with more lineup changes.
Of course.
Mark St. John joined on lead guitar,
Okay.
but his tenure was short-lived due to health issues.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was replaced by Bruce Kulick,
All right.
who ended up having the longest run of any Kiss member besides Simmons and Stanley.
Kulick brought stability to the band,
Yeah.
and throughout the rest of the 80s,
Huh?
they released a string of platinum albums.
Okay, let's hear it.
Animalize, Asylum,
Yeah.
Crazy Nights,
All right.
Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits.
Nice.
They were back on top, proving they could evolve and still connect with fans.
But just as things were looking up, tragedy struck again.
Oh.
In 1991, Eric Carr the Fox passed away from heart cancer.
Oh, man.
At the young age of 41.
A devastating loss for the band and for their fans.
It was.
Eric Singer stepped in on drums, and they released Revenge in 92. A heavier album that went gold and got them back into the top 10.
They were inducted into the Hollywood Rock Walk in 93.
Cool.
Released the massive History book in 95.
Wow.
And even did a worldwide convention tour
Okay.
where they played acoustic sets and met with fans.
That's awesome.
It seemed like they were reflecting on their legacy, reconnecting with their roots.
And then something truly unexpected happened.
What is that?
In 1996, the original lineup reunited.
Oh.
It was a global media frenzy.
Yeah.
They even appeared in a full makeup at the Grammy Awards,
Sure.
introduced by Tupac Shakur of all people.
Talk about a surreal moment.
It was.
The Alive worldwide tour that followed was their biggest ever grossing, almost $144 million.
Wow.
It was Kiss back in all their glory,
Yeah.
bigger and bolder than ever before.
It was spectacle.
And then in 1998,
Meh.
they released Psycho Circus, their first studio album with the original lineup in almost 20 years.
But even that wasn't without controversy.
Oh, really?
It turned out that Frehley and Criss's contributions to the album were limited,
What do you mean?
with Tommy Thayer playing a lot of the lead guitar
Right?
and session drummer Kevin Valentine handling most of the drums.
Interesting.
Still, the album debuted at number 3,
Wow.
and the title track even got a Grammy nomination.
They followed it up with the Psycho Circus tour,
Yeah.
which was groundbreaking for its use of 3D visuals.
Then came the farewell tour in 2000.
Which, of course, wasn't really a farewell.
Right. Criss left again right before the Japanese and Australian leg of the tour.
Really?
And Eric Singer donned the Catman makeup once more.
It's amazing how many twists and turns their story takes.
It is.
But even with all the lineup changes and behind-the-scenes drama, Kiss kept going.
They did.
They released new albums like Sonic Boom in 2009 and Monster in 2012.
Right.
Celebrated their 40th anniversary in 2014.
Wow.
Were finally inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Even did a collaboration single with a Japanese idol group.
A Japanese idol group?
It seems like they were always finding new ways to surprise us.
They weren't.
They toured with Def Leppard, headlined festivals, even had their own arena football team for a while.
Really?
Like they were determined to leave no stone unturned.
And finally, it all culminated with the end of the Road World Tour, which kicked off in 2019 and came to a close just a few weeks ago.
So it was really over.
After 46 years of recording and performing.
Wow.
Kiss finally hung up their platform boots.
The end of an era.
It is.
But what an era it was. So here we are at the end of the road. Kiss has officially called it quits after nearly 5 decades of rock and roll mayhem.
It's almost hard to believe, isn't it?
It is.
They've been such a constant presence in the music world for so long.
Right.
But I guess all good things must come to an end.
It makes you wonder, what's the legacy of Kiss? How will they be remembered?
Well, for one thing, they revolutionized concert touring.
In what way?
They took it to a whole new level. With their elaborate stage sets. Pyrotechnics costumes. The whole spectacle.
Right.
They understood that a concert wasn't just about the music. It was about creating an experience, a memory that would stay with fans long after the last note was played.
Right, and let's not forget about their incredible business acumen.
Oh, yeah?
They weren't just musicians.
No.
They were savvy entrepreneurs who built a merchandising empire unlike anything the music world had ever seen.
But they tapped into something really powerful.
What's that?
A desire to belong. To be part of something bigger than yourself.
Right.
They didn't just sell albums. They sold an identity. You could buy into the Kiss Army, wear the makeup, collect the merchandise, and suddenly you were part of this global tribe of rock and roll outlaws.
It's fascinating how they were able to connect with fans on such a deep level.
It is.
And it wasn't just about the marketing.
Right.
It was about the music, too.
Yeah.
Sure, they weren't always critically acclaimed, but they wrote some undeniably catchy anthems.
Oh, yeah.
That have become part of the rock and roll lexicon.
Rock and Roll All Night. Detroit Rock City. Beth.
Oh, yeah.
I was made for loving you.
I love that one.
These songs have transcended generations.
I have.
You hear them at sporting events, in movies, on the radio.
For sure.
They're woven into the fabric of our culture.
And even though they went through so many lineup changes and stylistic shifts over the years, they always stayed true to their core identity.
Right.
They were Kissed, and there was no mistaking them for anyone else.
That consistency, that unwavering commitment to their brand is something that a lot of bands could learn from.
Absolutely.
In an industry that's constantly changing.
Kiss remained a constant.
They were pioneers, innovators, and ultimately survivors.
That's right.
They weathered storms, overcame obstacles, and kept rocking for almost 50 years.
It's an incredible story, really.
It is.
And it makes you wonder, will we ever see another band like Kiss? A band that can capture the imagination of a generation, build a global empire, and leave such an indelible mark on music and pop culture.
It's hard to say. The music industry is so different now.
It is.
But one thing's for sure.
What's that?
Kiss set the bar high.
They did.
They showed the world what's possible when talent, ambition, and a whole lot of spectacle collide.
It's true.
So there you have it, the Kiss story.
Wow.
A wild ride through the highs and lows of rock and roll history.
What a ride.
What will you remember most about the hottest band in the world?